Okay, we'll take a little breather after turning the bike around. When I was younger, my family, the second house that I lived in was a cottage, probably about I don't know if it was a cottage, I guess it was a ranch house, like 4 or 5 miles up this road on the left here. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it, Leach. And so this was my old stomping grounds for a bit. We didn't live here very long, probably 4 or 5 years. One of my first memories of living over here was sitting on the back, a child seat of a 10-speed, right here while the bike was parked while my sister was having a blueberry fight with the neighbor kids. They're throwing blueberries at each other. We didn't have a lot of money then, and I remember the blueberries stained. Oh, we never had a lot of money, but I remember the blueberries stained my sister's clothes, and that was a big deal because it ruined her clothes. I was probably crying on the back seat. I don't know. I can't remember. You can't. I don't know if anyone remembers being on one of those, but you can't move when you're on like a child seat. Those old child seats. I don't see them anymore. People got trailers now, but this old, like PVC or plastic seats you sit on the back of, and they strapped you in. Well, if the rider left, it was just you, like, balancing, strapped in that seat. It's fucking terrifying. I remember you couldn't move a muscle. That was my first trauma. When I was real little, I had a big bicycle, big blue bicycle with ape hangers and a banana seat, and everything was blue. The seat was blue, and some hand-me-downs, like some bike from the 70s, or I don't know, it's fixed gear. But the brakes, you had to reverse the direction you were pedaling in order to stop, and I could not stop the bike. And the only way that I could stop the bike was by hitting something. So that's what's wrong with me. But there was an old World War II veteran that lived next door. He was like a cantankerous old man, sort of like, I was Dennis the Menace, and he was this old cranky guy. But his name was Mr. Twitchell. Twitchell was it's a man and his wife that lived there, and they were snowbirds. They went south in the wintertime. But I broke the ice because my dad didn't like him. No one liked him at the time. He was just a mean, grouch, like, stay off our property. But I don't remember if that's what he said or not. But I know we weren't supposed to go over there. He was always out yelling, and when you're a kid, it really is like that, like Charlie Brown, like wah 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 wah. Wow, loose gravel here. But anyways, that's what broke the ice, was Mr. Twitchell finally cracked up watching me smash my bike into trees. So, 38 years later, not much has changed. No trees were harmed in the making of this video. This helmet stinks. That's what I'm going to do during my month off. That's one of the things I'm going to do is take the padding out of this helmet and wash it. Holy smokes. It does not smell nice. I never had that problem with my old helmet. It was also an HJC, but just, I don't know. I might have washed it once. I don't know. I don't see why they don't make them like, football helmets so you can wipe them out on the inside. I've seen some, leather, that I imagine that's the intent. But, just too hard to clean. I don't really think, I guess they mop up the sweat. I don't know. I'd rather have something that didn't hold the stank in. I guess we're doing don't put your feet down day. Got all kinds of bad habits. Only stalled it once on the way out, but to be fair, it was dark when I got to the first time. I stalled it probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 times. And I got stuck on a fucking log that I eventually just busted through by hammering on the throttle. Rear tire's like, this mossy log. Fucking back end sliding all around. I don't know if you get a lot of traction on, treaded tires, off-road tires on those logs either. I think that log would have gave it everyone. If you didn't have a little bit of forward momentum, would have gave everyone some trouble. So I'm still watching other people's motovlogs. I don't know if you're not supposed to do that once you start motovlogging, but I love it. I like watching them. The best one I've seen in a long time was that shade tree surgeon. His hurricane coverage was freaking hilarious. I can't believe he's out there riding around in the storm surge like that. And that old Harley he had. Pretty awesome. Guy's got some skill. Still watching her two wheels. I like their new Beamer they got. Is it the R18 or I'm not even sure that's the name of it. And Noodle on a Doodle or Doodle on a Noodle, one of the two. I'm not sure what her name is, but I really like hers, but she doesn't put videos out too much. Well, I mean, she does, but she hasn't lately, so I guess I shouldn't say that. I mean, she puts out a lot of videos. Just got that out. I don't know what I'm talking about. Probably shouldn't talk about other people anyway. Not very good on video, and I'm even worse in person, so. This Mortal's Key Brewery over here on the left. It used to be a winery and a brewery, but some of it burned. It's a pretty neat place. Pretty awesome. They have a lot of outdoor concerts, and I think there's a kayak rental place inside. I imagine they got it opened back up now. I can't even see where the damage was. The pizza oven, I think, caught fire, or something around the pizza oven caught fire. It's kind of a shame. It's a really awesome place. It's like multi-story. Part of it was like a converted barn. You could go up in the loft, and it was really neat. This is Jamestown Dam. The Pymatuning Lake area is pretty renowned for its fishing. It's a stock lake. It's a man-made lake. It was a swamp or a series of swamps that was dredged and by a team of horses, or by, during the Depression by men for the, was it WPA? Or New World Order, whatever it was. NWA, something like that. WWE, WWF. Hulk Hogan and The Rock dredged this lake out. But this is the dam that made the lake possible. And I was down in Shenango Reservoir last motovlog, last weekend. And this is the lake that feeds it. There's a river, and I guess it'd be a little bit of a spillway in the dam. Not down here, but up around the corner on the left. In the wintertime, this is a popular sled riding area. Oh, I got a cool story about that too. Yeah, the rivers or the spillways up here on this next little that stone embankment there. That's the beginning of the Shenango River, but it's not being fed right now. at least not by the lake. Some pretty cool stories sled riding back there. I don't know if you remember those old wooden sleds that had the rails on them. They weren't very good for for like deep snow or anything. It had to be like really hard pad. In fact, they weren't good for anything. I don't know how. It's like the old-timey sleds. I don't know how anyone used them, except when conditions are right, and then it's a hell cart from outer space. It's like something out of Doom. You get on it, and the Doom music starts up. It's one year when the ice. It had snowed, and then it was hard packed because people have been sled riding there, kids and toboggans, tractor tires, and everything else been going down it for probably a month or so. And then we had an ice storm, and my uncle, for whatever reason, had the great idea, probably because he had done it before in the past, but grabbed a couple of those tracked sleds. I'll put a picture up. I don't know what they're actually called, but the ones you can supposedly steer. They have the little wing on the front. You can steer the first 2 treads. Well, anyways, we started going down head first on them. And that first hill, you pick up speed. But what you didn't see back behind us as I went by was another hill that dropped off. And you couldn't stop. And there was like a little ditch down there, like another little tributary for the Shenango River. And we would end up shooting all the way down there. Basically, you go the length of that bridge that we just drove across, or thereabout, almost. Oh, some across the road, squirrel. But you just flow. It's like National Lampoons when they grease the sled with whatever that patented grease or whatever that Griswold had. It was exactly like that. Whoa, that was a huge eagle nest. There's one like that down the Shenango River. I've seen them so big like that. There was one on 322. Well, this is 322, but one on, that's still 322 in there. That sort of jets due north for a bit before continuing on eastward. But they came out because it was so close to the power line and moved the nest. They were afraid that the eagles were going to be killed. I believe they were bald eagles. They build those big nests like that. And that's exactly what that looks like to me. But if you recall the video, I didn't notice it at the time, but down when I went to the ORV park, there was an eagle nest there too. So. And when I was a kid, and when Melissa was a kid, there were no bald eagles around here, like little kids. And it was our when we were children is when they started to bring them back. And even after I moved to Menor, Melissa still hadn't seen them with any great prevalence. But once we started dating, she would come down this way, and we'd see them a bit more. Well, there's an observation station out over the spillway on the Linesville side where the ducks walk on the fish, if you're not familiar. It's a big causeway, spillway, where the hatchery feeds the lake. All the fish and the carp sort of hang about. People feed them fish and stuff. It's a dirty lake, so they breed a lot of carp, and the carp help to clean the lake. They're bottom feeders. But they also like bread. But anyways, there's a viewing station there where you put quarters in. And I remember going on a field trip, seeing like some of the first bald eagles in our area, maybe even Pennsylvania at the time. And you could go out and look out over the expanse of the lake, and there was like a little island out there where the eagles would nest. And they had a couple mating pairs. And a couple years in a row. I'm not sure why there were field trips to the hatchery, but we did that. And this is how old school we were. It wasn't that far away, but it was quite a ways. Our field trip, we'd go by foot. It was an old abandoned railway, defunct railway system, which interestingly is the railway that was in existence that gave Espyville its name. The original name for Espyville was Espyville Station Nation. And if you drive down, oh, not Station Nation, sorry, that was our nickname for it. Yeah, the original name was Espyville Station. It was its own sovereign nation, though. But if you drive down by the fire hall there, you'll see the old train station. A teacher of mine lived in the building for a time. I'm not sure what happened to her, if she's still there or not. But we'd walk along that old railroad bed to the fish hatchery. It's just sort of like a meandering, wandering story. That was a nice day out. Everybody loved it. They have inside the hatchery, there's like a little aquarium where you can see the fish that have been bred. They have giant stock tanks in there where they breed all the different types of fish, and then they're all fed into this giant vat. And I think from the vat they're pumped into a series of like canals and stuff, or drained into the protected side of the lake where you're not allowed to fish. And then generally, or gradually over time, they will migrate over the spillway and out into the rest of the lake and end up on the plate. We're hitting all the lights. So I will bid Nasty farewell for a time as we move on to a bicycle for the rest of September. And if I'm not too sore, maybe I'll get out and do a motovlog here and there, but I think my big push has ended so far this year. At least until October, where it'll then be pretty cold. Sometimes we can ride into November, into December, but the big issue is salt on the road. I don't like to run the bike after they start treating the roads. It just eats vehicles apart. Been working on cars too long to put Nasty through that. This helmet smells so bad. It's worse than my old football gear. I must have drew damp in the night. I'm gonna pull over and pull the camera anyway. I like to cinch everything up and lock down the panniers for when I get home. I can open up the helmet and let it air out. Oof, it stinks. So this is Charm on Travel. Signing off. Reminding you to stay tuned.